Hello everyone, I am Tacet and welcome to the Gems of War Tower of Doom stream, week 15, day 7. So today, going to be going over several spoilers for next week, including the faction that we are going to be getting this Friday. Other than that, we might be getting next patch very soon. Like, it could be any time from tomorrow to, like, a week from tomorrow, or more like 8 or 9 days from tomorrow, but sometime within that time frame, very soon, we are getting patch 4.7, so we'll see exactly what ends up happening with that, as I'm not even sure what their finalization is on tasks at this point, but we'll find out. But, yeah, that'll be coming soon, and we'll go over everything else that's coming that isn't related to that, because we don't know for sure if it guarantee will. First off, of course, is the Glory Troop for tomorrow. It unfortunately does not have Empowered, despite it having a ability very similar to a lot of other troops that have Empower. But for 11 mana, Yellow-Purple gets to convert all blue gems to red, then gives armor and barrier to the strongest ally. This is pretty much never going to be used due to the lack of Empower, but if nothing else, you have a blue to red convert, maybe a Guild War kind of option, but I really don't feel like you'd bother using this on Blue Guild War Day, even on Defend, so I'd probably just ignore it for the most part. Obviously, you still want to get it upgraded for upgrading purposes, but that'll be the Glory Troop for next week. Let me go get the next one. Doing these with images this time, because for whatever reason, the capture for online still doesn't seem to work for whatever reason. Not sure why on this computer. Still need to look into that. But this one is the raid troop for next week. Going to be a pretty decent one. It ends up boost ratioing based on the enemy's life. I actually forgot to double check its boost ratio. 1 second. Let me check it on the other computer. Do I even have it up on the other computer? Yes, I do. It has a boost ratio of 0.2, meaning every 5 HP they have, it'll do 1 additional damage. So if they have 100 HP, that will be 20 additional damage, which might not seem like too much, but you have to keep in mind this is raids after all, so they're going to be having hundreds upon hundreds of HP the deeper you go. So it's going to be pretty good at being able to upscale, and keep in mind whatever extra damage you do have. For example, if they did have 100 HP, that 20 damage would actually be 100 additional damage if you had it fully ascended. So theoretically, if you had them fully ascended for his 5 times damage, whatever their HP is how much extra damage you'll do to them. That's a really easy way of thinking about it if you have it fully ascended to Mythic. So basically, if they have 200 HP, you will do 200 additional damage. So, yeah, that's going to be a lot of damage, to say the least. Especially if you had them armor tier torn, then you'd be able to just go and simply kill them out. Speaking of armor tier, Rope Dart is available next week, all next week. It is one of the best hero weapons that you could possibly craft, if not the best. And I would highly advise getting it next week. It is pretty much the best weapon in the game that is craftable. So definitely worth considering, as you won't be able to get it for like 6 or 7 months after this, unless you happen to buy it with $1 to $5 pack thingies. But if you don't end up doing it that way, it'll be a long time until Rope Dart's available again after next week. So definitely pick it up if you don't have it. And speaking of weapons, here's the raid weapon for this week. Let's see, where to go. Raid weapon, where are you? Right over here, the Cat's Paw. So, what this thing does, I hate that it makes it so small. So, what this thing does, it deals damage to an enemy boosted by Pride Lands allies, then creates a mix of green and red. Same kind of thing as many of the other weapons we've been getting. Pride Lands isn't that good of a synergy, so I'm pretty sure you won't really be using this too much. It's pretty much just a weapon that you would get just for completion's sake, and you're not really ever going to be using it. So that's everything that's coming out tomorrow, with the most noteworthy one being, oddly enough, the raid troop itself for once. But let's go over the 4 new troops that are coming this Friday. These are all for Stormheim. Let me go and make this actually very large, just so we can get bigger text for down here, because this is where all the useful information is. So, as far as the rare from the next faction, it steals magic +2 life from an enemy, and it's boosted based on frozen and burning enemies at a 2 times boost ratio. So if you can get any freeze or burn on them, that'll end up helping out a lot. It also has ice armor, which has a 65% score reduction, which means he will be a pretty solid tank. And it does stack with 25%, not to 90%, but it does stack a little bit. It'll probably be somewhere around 78% reduction, I believe, is how much score reduction he'll have with a 25% on top of that. But yeah, it'll be a pretty hefty amount of defense. And this is off the rare, so already a pretty solid tank right there. Next up, we have ourselves the ultra rare. Might as well go in rarity order. So as far as the ultra rare, It deals magic +3 damage to an enemy, boosted by blue and red gems on the board at a 2-to-1. So for every, let's say 10 on the board, that would be 5 additional damage if there was 10 total blue and red. And it takes both the numbers, so if there was 20 in total, that would be 10 additional damage, which is a bit more likely. That is, there's somewhere around like 10 to 20 approximately on the board, unless you're creating either of them. And then it either freezes or burns the enemy, which will synergize a little bit with that other ability. Other than that, it does gain 1 magic every single time you get an extra turn. It also has high ancestry. Do we have this on anything? It has immune to mana drain, silence, fairy fire, and death mark. I forget if this is already immunity that exists in the game. That's a pretty wide, decent range. Does that mean it's a fairy? Because mostly, yeah, elves, I mean. Most elves have been getting these weird immunities that have like several different immunities like this. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a okay amount of immunities. Doesn't have immune to stun though, which is a big thing to be missing with that. But yeah, immune to mana drain, silence, fairy fire, death mark. Still not too bad, but pretty lackluster. Overall, probably not a trip you'd really use for the most part. Keep in mind, this is all for Stormheim as well. And there's actually only 1 giant being brought in, and that is this thing. So this thing, most relevant part of it's actually this over here. It counts as an elemental giant. Also, I just see that we have tribute not claimed. Hold up 1 second. I can't not claim that tribute. There we go. Okay, anyways, where were we? So the most relevant thing about this thing is actually the fact that it's elemental giant, as this would synergize with a lot of the other elemental giants that exist within the kingdom, and would allow you to have a little bit more team compositions that you could potentially end up using. But this ends up creating a mix of blue and red off of green yellow, which is also coloration, particularly the green, that is missing from... actually, I shouldn't say that. Green is actually already covered because of... what's her name? Because of Frost Crown. So, still, it's not too covered that well. I think that's like one of the only few things that really use it from the kingdom very well. But anyways, this creates a mix of blue and red equal to the number currently on the board of blue and reds. So, similar to a lot of the other trolls that end up doing the same, it's basically just a blue-red troll for doubling those two. Most of these trolls have been pretty lackluster. However, this is in a Stormheim and is with giants and in a kingdom where you could just use Titan and get a full bonus. So in that regard, it might have some viability, especially as we start getting more options for Titan. As the more options that go into Stormheim, the more capabilities this thing will have to synergize with a 4x giant Titan team. So we'll just have to see. Overall, it's pretty lackluster other than if you're using it with Titan. So in any other situation, you're probably not going to be bothering with that troop, other than maybe for the faction itself, of course. And lastly, we of course have the legend itself from the new faction. Of course, these are much easier to get than normal legends, since all you have to do is just throw some shards at the portal thing. As far as what it does, it deals magic +5 splash damage to 2 random enemies. And splash damage does mean 50%. Light splash means 25%. Splash damage means when it just says normal splash damage, or, you know, splash damage like that, that means 50%. And when it says heavy splash damage, it means 75%. So that one's 50% to adjacents. It then burns the first group. Wait, what? Okay, that one I don't know what it does. And then freeze the second group. I think it means troop and not group. Unless it means the first 2 and last 2 when it says group. Hold up. Oh, okay, never mind. I see what it means. Okay, that's really weird wording. This is actually the first troop that has had this wording. I see what it means now. So basically, it hits 2 random splashes. The first splash will hit 3 enemies, ideally. And all 3 of those will be burned, and then the next set of 3 will be frozen. That is an interesting thing. Yeah, that's what it means. Okay. So it hits in 2 different instances. Anything that gets touched by the first hit, which can hit up to 3 enemies, will end up getting burned, and anything that hits the third or the second group will end up getting frozen. Okay, that makes sense now. That's really weird wording. No troop actually has that wording yet, but definitely quite unique. Would be cool to see some other ones that actually have better effects, like an Entangle Silence one that does splash Entangle and then splash Silence on top of that. But burn and freeze is okay. Not the greatest of combinations, but it'll work. The freeze is obviously the more useful aspect of it. However, this could actually synergize with hero classes that do triple damage to burning, because you'd be able to skull spam, have them already frozen, and have the burning that you need to triple. Other than that, it also freezes and burns a random enemy whenever matching an extra turn. Oh yeah, so it'll be even more viable for that. That's actually a decent combo then. I feel like this will mostly be used in exactly what I just said, actually, now that I think about it. It'll mostly be used with troops that have triple damage on skulls, because the freeze will help to make sure they don't get any extra turns off your skull spam, and the burn will allow you to do triple damage. So that's actually not too bad of a combo then. Though that's probably the only thing it's realistically going to be used with, as there aren't too many other combinations. Unless you made like a weird war team, it could maybe be okay with that. Other than that, it has that same trait as before, immune to mana, drain, silence, fairy, fire, and death mark. And it just gains a little bit of magic and delves, which will obviously help it through delves. But overall, kind of average. Nothing really too special, but very situationally, you might be using it for the triple damage skull things, just to help assist them. As that might actually be better than Infernus in some particular situations, depending on the battle. But anyways, that's all the spoiler images we have. Other than that, 4.7, very soon TM. Ultra soon TM. Like, it could be tomorrow, it's so soon. But we have no official dates. Actually, let me bring up the soon TM. Where's our soon TM? I know we have it. There we go. The soon TM. But yeah, it's coming soon. Anyways, on to the next thing. We need to go farm stuff. So we're still hunting for that Nisha. That hasn't changed. Oh, that's the code that I just gave out. Well, I will be giving out, I should say. Haven't handed it out yet. We will do that. But first things first. Let's go get Purple Deeds. Purple Deeds obviously being one of the best. Actually, not one of the best. It is the best deed in the entire game due to the fact that it gives you a bonus for magic. There are 4 different kingdoms that have a magic bonus there. Also, I didn't even say hello to everyone. What am I doing? We're already 10 minutes in. Hello, Bill. Hello, Jellybean. Hello, Big Dog. Hello, Fernaflu. Hello, Birdleaf. Hello, Lucien. Hello, Bill. Your money's on Tuesday. That is likely. We'll find out probably tomorrow what the official date is. They're doing a spoiler stream, the devs are, tomorrow nights right after our stream. So hopefully after that we'll know. So that means on Tuesday I'll let you guys know, unless it's literally happening on Tuesday, in which case we'll be streaming it. Hello, Mobarashi. Hello, Lucien. Hello, James. Hello, Jeremy. Hello, Adrian. Hello, Steve. Let's see. Hello, Kevin. And hello, James. And hello, everyone else. Welcome. Now that they have added keys to all the epic tasks, will it be worth only getting a legendary task on Guild War weeks? Or recommend finishing all tasks? Also, they removed Nisha. I don't know why they added removed Nishas. That's basically nerfed the tasks to be even worse than they were before. I'm not sure exactly what they were thinking. But yeah, the tasks are actually worse than they initially were before they touched the tasks at all. But it's really weird now that they distributed all of the value on it, because now you can't just go all in on Red Tree like you were going to be able to before. Now that they distributed it all, you're going to have to waste a lot of gold, and it might just be technically worth it just to go into all of them now, just because they distributed the value way too much, and they ended up adding a deed to every single tree, and because of that, there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to want to pick them up just to progress a little bit further on your deeds for your kingdoms, since there isn't really any other viable way of getting consistently more deeds other than by putting a bunch of gold into your guild. So, I don't know. I guess you might just do it every week now. Your guild will kind of just have to discuss it. It really just depends. Because if you do all the tasks, you're going to get less overall gem value. However, if you do all the tasks, you're also going to be getting things like deeds, which will progress your kingdoms. And since there isn't any other way to realistically do that, that might be the way to go as it currently stands. There's basically 3 strategies now. There's do every single task. There's do the tasks up to about 3 or so now that they distributed keys on a bunch of them. And then there is just completely ignore the tasks, and then every 3rd week, every 4th week for Guild War week, you do all of them. Any combination of those is likely what would be done. And it really just depends on guild by guild on what you'll do. I don't know, I'm almost leaning towards just doing all of them at this point. It's quite a bit less value. I still need to go double check the math on that as far as actual gem value compared to before and after. But I know it is less if you end up doing it that way. However, you're getting deeds in return. Like a lot of deeds. Like you'll get 7.6 deeds per week if you do all the tasks. The only problem with that is it will cost your guild, what, 31 million gold or something like that? Somewhere around there. What's 5.5 times 6? That's math. That's 33 million. It's about 33 million extra gold per week. However, it would give you 7.6 deeds per week doing it. Among a few other resources. However, the 7.6 deeds is the most noteworthy one that you'd be getting. I'm probably not upping my requirement, but it is encouraged to do probably around 1.5 million gold for my guild. But I'm still leaving the requirement at 1 million for now. Just because it's already hard enough recruiting for 1 million. It'd be even harder if we made it 1.5 million. Salty said it's almost the same. Not quite, because they distributed all the value across it. It's quite a bit less. I haven't done the exact math on it yet, but I know it is less than before. As far as gem value. However, you are getting other things in return, like 7.6 deeds. However, that's the only real good thing you get in return now. Because shards are useless. Pet food, well, I shouldn't say they're useless, but they're quite a bit less desirable to be wasting gold on. And those things are the food, the pet food, the shards, and now the tokens, because for whatever reason, they nerfed the tokens to not give any Nishas and not give any Anus. Not sure if they're still going to be tweaking that. But as of this current moment in time, the tasks will not have anything, I believe, above an ultra rare or something like that. They end up really, really reducing down the tokens that you get for it for whatever reason. Oh, throw that down. Okay, those down. Do we have enough to upgrade anything with purple? I believe we almost do. How's Silverglade doing? That's not the right one. How's Silverglade doing? Nope. We can get it upgraded again, I guess, but can't get it all the way yet. So we'll hold for now. Actually, no, we'll commit to it. But yeah, now we need how many more? 14. We need 14 more purple deeds. Also, all those little things that you get that can convert into deeds next patch, you should be putting 100% of them into purple. It is the most useful deed color in the entire game, and probably always will be. At least until you get the first 4 kingdoms upgraded, which will be at least several more months, even with the new task system. Probably even longer than that. But yeah, I highly advise converting all of the wits or writs or whatever they're called next patch into deeds, purple deeds. Obviously into deeds, that's the only thing they can convert into. But specifically into purple deeds. Because there's 4 magic kingdoms. Hello, Zeddicus! Glad you can make it. Yeah, green tree is by far the best tree. Yeah, that's one of the other reasons for kind of doing all the trees too. They end up putting a purple deed onto purple tree. Well, they put 1 deed on every single tree. That's like the only really enticing thing for doing every tree now, is for that 1 deed. I don't know, is 1 deed worth 5.5 million gold? I think to some people it might be. Especially since that's across your entire guild. So if you break that down per person, what's 5.5 million divided by 30? I need to get a calculator for that. I'm not going to figure that out in my head. I think it's like 166,000 or something. Let's see, 550, or sorry, 5 million. 5.5 million divided by 30. Yeah, it's 183,333. So if you put it that way, it's kind of worth it. Like, would you be willing to buy a purple deed every single week for 183,333 gold? I would say the answer to that is probably yes for most people. And that's basically the whole value exchange for every single tree. Because in most trees, that's the only thing worthwhile is the deed that is specifically under the tree. And that basically comes down to 183,300. Oh, sorry, 183,000 basically per deed is what it basically comes out to per person. And you'd be able to buy 7.66 deeds per week. 1 per tree, and green tree has 2.66 deeds on it. 1 green and 1.66 that can be any deed in the entire game, which you convert to purple, obviously. But also, don't forget to go claim your 50 gems for the dungeons. If you haven't already been doing that, you should be doing that every single Sunday. Every other day, its value is quite a bit less. However, on Sundays, its value is a lot more. So it's always good to do so, even if you literally just started the game. As soon as you unlock dungeons, it is worth spending 50 gems every single week on this, as these will help you be able to craft legends and mythics, particularly mythics. And gem keys already give you back almost half the value that you even spent in gems, and you get a few other things like a celestial and all those other things in there. But even just the diamonds alone would have been worth the conversion. Anyways, since I've been talking so much, let me go hand out the code already. So there's the code. Well, I just literally just claimed on the thing. I probably should have left it up. But here you guys go. I think I have it on copy paste right over here. But there's the code. Use on gemsofwar.com for the game code section. Same thing as always. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. Enjoy, everyone. Okay. So, of course, Tower of Doom. Don't forget to go finish that up. We are currently at 55th place. I don't think we're going to bother trying for top 50. But because I think we're a big enough gap that we're not really going to be able to do so in a timely fashion. So, like, even if we did all of our battles, unless, like, a few other people from the guild did so, too, we wouldn't be able to reach. So, we'll just leave it as is for now. We're just 31, which is already deeper than we normally go anyways. But we'll leave that as is. Other than that, let's go and go hunt that Nisha. So that's pretty much the main thing we still need to go do. Of course, this flash offer is still around if you still want it. It's okay. Nothing really too over the top. I believe that was everything then, right? We did that, did that, did that, did that. That means we can go Nisha hunt. And gosh, do we need one, because we are on like a 6-day dry streak now for this Nisha. I believe Tuesday was the... Okay, so 5-day dry streak. Tuesday was the last time we got a Nisha. And we've been pretty much hunting for it adamantly since. And have not been able to get it. Though we were testing the new Mythic quite a bit. I do keep in mind, new Mythic is still available on Drop Table, and it will be even into next week. It resets on Friday reset time. So you have until basically the end of Thursday to try to go get the new Mythic. So if you're still trying to go and get that, you still have some time. And obviously you'll get a bunch of keys tomorrow that will be able to assist you in doing so. You can't click the link? How come? Should be able to work. I don't think I posted the wrong link. I have posted the wrong one occasionally, but it looks like it's the right link. Yeah, the easiest way to take out dungeons if you are struggling with them in from early game is use the weapon of Mang. By that level, you probably already have that weapon. It's a weapon that you get as you upgrade your brown and red hero mastery, and that weapon alone can actually solo all pet battles all to completion, as well as all dungeons to completion, as well as several other pieces of content in the game. It's definitely something that will end up helping out a lot, particularly in early game when you don't have that many options, since you're just starting out and getting a bunch of troops. Hello, Zeddicus! I got a dry streak. Put a little Kentucky lotion on it. What on earth is Kentucky lotion? Never heard of it. Very nice, Lucian. Yeah, it can be hard from early game to get those done. But whatever team you can do to get it, end up getting it done will work. I still have no clue what that is, Bill. So I don't really keep up with beauty products, so... Or I assume that's what that is. I'm not even sure. You can't click the link? Why is that? Let me see. Is the link not working for anyone? Let me see. I'll go click on it right now. It worked for me when I just clicked on it. That's weird. Regardless, you can just go to gemsofwar.com. Literally just type in gemsofwar.com. Or, you know, gems of war. Yeah, gems. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I can't even talk. But yeah, gemsofwar.com. And then just go to do forum section. Or not forum section, to the game code section, I mean. It'll do the same thing. The thing that just threw me off is because Gems of War database is abbreviated as GOWDB.com. But no, gemsofwar.com is just actually typed out as gemsofwar.com. There's also a nice forum there. So that's where you redeem the codes if you want to go there manually. Because you just go to that website, then you click on redeem code, or it might even just say code or something. It's either redeem or code is probably what it says. And then you just click on that and it brings you the same page. Oh, grab that, grab that. Get our Scorpius. Apparently get a gnome. No gnome event this weekend, unfortunately. However, we are getting a new faction this Friday. And I've been conserving my gems. And also pay to winning by using a phone to keep taking tribute. And between those two things, we have a pretty solid amount of gems right now. We are currently have like a 3,000 gem surplus, because I do generally like to keep over 25,000 gems if I can. 3 Cedrics, that is not an Nisha. Yeah, we have, we're going to spend about 3,000 gems this Friday, and we'll easily have 3,000 above 25,000 by this Friday, between Tribute and between the fact that we're getting like 400 gems for free just from tasks tomorrow. But anyways, let's go back to Urskaya and hopefully find that Nisha tonight. And I did say we would give out a super ultra secret mega code if and only if whenever we reach finally getting this Nisha, regardless of when that occurs. So hopefully we'll have that this stream. I really don't want this to take a whole nother week to go and try to get. And now that they don't even have it off of tasks, we can't even guarantee get it off a task either, so we have to specifically go and farm them manually this way. Oh, I never close my Gems of War redeem page. There's a few things I never close. And I keep all those on my other computer. And that's one of them. That and all the spoilers for Gems of War, as well as the forum for Gems of War. Hello, Viper! Welcome! I do find myself closing all apps on phone, though, just to not clutter it. I'm not sure if phones really lag the same way that PCs lag when a lot of things are open. But every single time I have even, like, more than 2 apps open, I always close all of them, just to make sure too many of them don't stack on each other. Also, it feels so weird using a phone. I'm so used to just using PCs for everything. And I still do for the most part. I've almost been using it like a third PC almost. It's kind of funny. It feels so weird using 4 screens at once. Starting to slowly get used to it though. Right now I'm only using 2 screens though. The one PC and the one we're streaming off of course. Yes, we're still fishing for Anisha. And apparently there are no bites. Ever. We're almost an entire weekend and still haven't gotten it. Also, Amazon stuff should be coming in soon. I believe the drawing tablet's coming out tomorrow. Though I won't be doing that on the channel anytime soon. But I figured I'd start learning how to draw a bit more. It's something I've been wanting to do for ages, but never really bothered. So I figured, why not? It was relatively cheap. I actually used to have a drawing tablet, but ends up getting displaced during my move to South Carolina. Which class is the worst? Probably Knight Hero class. All of its traits are horrible. Pretty much every tree it has is some of the worst trees in the game. And its typing is even good. It's just Knights. And Knights, while okay in early game, fall off really hard later in the game. And that's mostly because most of their bonus is armor. And armor is the worst stat in the game of the 4 stats. Not in every situation. Obviously, Rowan loves having armor. But unless your troops specifically boost ratio off of armor, armor is the worst stat in the game. I really wish they would modify armor in some way to make it better. Like maybe having a increased, like have a reduction in damage on it or something. I'm not sure, but I don't know. They really need to do something with armor to make it slightly more viable than HP. But even if they added only a 10% reduction on it, like all damage you take via armor specifically gets reduced by like 10%. Like even something like that would make armor at least comparable to that of HP. It would still be worse than HP even at that point. But at least it would be slightly better at that point. I guess that would get a little bit confusing if people keep thinking they'll do some amount of damage and then do slightly less. Gosh, we keep getting Anus and I keep thinking they're Nishas. We got a lot of Anus though this week. We've gotten a really large amount. I think yesterday, we ended up getting a total of 9. Like 8 or 9. It was a lot. Still no Nisha, though. Thank you, Reflection. I had a pretty decent weekend. But yeah, the thing I'm looking forward to the most probably coming in, though I'm not sure how much I'll be doing with it initially because there's a lot I need to figure out with it. And a few things I would need a commission for it as well. Or assets for it. But The stream deck should be pretty interesting, because we can use it for transitions in the stream. We can end up using it for a lot of various functions that you wouldn't be able to do too easily otherwise. Might even be able to set it up to do automatic Facebook, Twitter posts simultaneously, and just have it where you can literally do it with a single button press, which would be pretty cool. And we could use it as a soundboard. We can use it for transitions. We can use it for graphics coming in and coming out. Could even use it when I'm just recording videos, because we could end up adding a intro to our video and everything else like that while still doing the video in one take. So normally you would need to edit a video in order to add things like a intro and outro and stuff like that. However, with this new program slash tool or hardware slash software, we'd be able to go and basically add those things, be able to click it with a single button, and yeah, just have it that way. And you could theoretically do that now without needing to do it specifically with this thing. However, I have tried doing that in the past, and it is extremely annoying to end up doing, just because it doesn't always work properly, or you can end up misclicking it. However, well, I guess I could still misclick with this too, but it'd be a lot harder to do so, and it'll just be a lot more organized than the way I've done it in the past. There's quite a few things. I'm not even sure of absolutely everything we could do with it, but we'll be experimenting with it. It probably won't be fully implemented until early next year. Also, at that point, I can finally get notifications and stuff fully working again too, as well as some other notifications that we haven't used before. Yeah, there's still several things I need to go commission actually before the end of this year. Maybe we'll finally get emojis commissioned too, like actual custom ones. Not sure if I'll be able to get that done, but there's a few other things I want to get done, like an actual proper intro and stuff like that. What level do you get the first mythic usually? That can vary. However, some people go all the way to level 1000 and still don't get their first mythic. Though I've had accounts that have gotten multiple mythics prior to level 100. It really comes down to luck and how many keys you're getting. And the better the guild you're in, the more keys you don't naturally be getting. But I believe every account I've ever had has gotten a mythic before 100. And my one account that's almost at 1000 on Switch ended up getting, I believe, 13 mythics before 1000. However, there are people that power level and might not be in as big of a guild that end up getting 0 mythics by the time they're level 1000. It can really vary heavily based on a lot of factors. Mythics aren't too necessary for progression though until you get later in the game, because most teams that you can build don't necessarily need mythics. They're definitely helpful to have, particularly the better ones, but they're not too big of a necessity for too many things other than maybe delves and for high level guild wars, are like the two main things where they're a little bit more of a necessity. But both of those things you don't tend to do until later in the game. Because high-level guild wars would require you to already naturally be in a really high guild, which you'd be getting plenty of keys from anyways. And high-level delves you don't really ever bother with until super ultra late in the game. It's like one of the last completionist kind of things that you really bother doing. It's because it's rather difficult and also pretty pricey. A 2,500 delve, if you want to get it done easily, can cost around 2,000 to 3,000 gems, which obviously a lot of people earlier on in the game would not waste that many gems on that. They'd rather use it on keys or for other pieces of content. But once you have nearly everything in the game, it starts to become viable to actually start doing them, since you don't have as many things to spend gems on, since you no longer really need to spend them on keys. Nope, still no Nisha. Are there any commons that are better than mythics? Yes. There actually are. Humility, Justice, Leshy in some situations, Firebomb in some situations, and there might be a few others I'm forgetting. Forest Wolf. And there's probably a few others I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Also, we're getting 6 new commons next patch that are all going to be pretty viable as well, particularly with the new mythic that just came out, but even without it, it might still be good for pure color. Though that's comparing them to some of the worst mythics, though. The best mythics are better than the best commons, obviously. as would be expected. However, there are the best commons are better than the worst mythics. What to grab? Take a mountain. Also, most teams can be composed just using common to legendary. And there's even some teams that can go with just ultra rare and below. Though most of them do need some amount of legends. It's because most damage sources under legends and mythics. Like all of the really good damage sources. Also, I don't count weapons as rarity. The only hard to obtain weapon is pretty much Dawnbringer. And I guess maybe possibly the Doom weapons. Every other weapon is pretty relatively easy to get. At least comparable to the same rarity troops. What is the worst mythic overall? Probably either Groshnock. What's the other one called? There are two from the Groshnock Kingdom. I completely forget their names now. But, yeah, Gargantar. Fist of Zorn. Let's see, I'll tell you right now. It's, I know what all three are. I just forget their name. I know where they're from, though. Where is the thing? So the three worst mythics in the entire game, which are pretty much all tied for the absolute worst, is Shade of Zorn, which is basically just a small poke into a useless summon that can only summon even if it gets a kill, or only if it gets a kill, and everything else is just useless on it. Then there is Gargantar, which is the same premise, but it boosts based on kills, but it's just super, super, super underwhelming, and at most will just kill things one at a time, which is very slow, and it can't even consistently do that. And the other one that's tied for worst mythic in the game is Fallen Valdis, which is this thing. It was supposed to be a divine counter, but they made it so bad that even after they nerfed divines, this couldn't even properly counter divines. I'm still not sure why they haven't buffed this yet, but it just deals damage to all enemies, explodes some Doom Skulls, and that's boosted based on divine enemies, and then it silences divine enemies. Even against divines, this is even viable, which is sad because it's supposed to be a hard counter to divines. Also, its unique trait is also horrifically bad, which is one of the reasons also why it's never really used. But those three are tied pretty much at the worst of the worst mythics. Anyways, let's go ahead back over to the grind. Please give us a Nisha tonight. Tonight's the night, hopefully. But yeah, there are commons that can do more damage than those things. Like Forest Wolf, or just Wolf, whatever it's called. I think it's called Forest Wolf. Ends up doing more damage than any of those three mythics I just mentioned. Because it has double damage to Entangle. It has a Entangle into Hunter's Mark that is relatively cheap, plus has extra turn attached to it. And then it can go and hit for 4 times skull damage with the Hunter's Mark Entangle. And it does that to first slot, so they're already going to be disabled. And you'll be able to go and just hit them for 4 times. And 4 times damage, not always, but is can be one shot in many situations. So for only 9 mana, and 9 mana that could potentially extra turn, it can one shot enemies. With 9 mana that could potentially be an extra turn into a skull, would one shot quite a few things in the game. Off of a common. Yeah, Direwolf, that's his name. My bad. Yeah, he's from Reguim Woods, which is why I thought it was Forest Wolf. He is from a forest, but yeah, Direwolf was the troop I was referring to. Winter Wolf's not as viable, though. Plus, it's a higher rarity, which is kind of funny. It's a higher rarity, yet not even as viable. Yeah, Forest Wolf is really nice, due to its potential automatic extra turn, with enough green on the board, into 4 times skull damage. And even if you don't end up skulling them immediately, they'll at least be entangled, so they can't hit you back with skulls. In case you accidentally miss on skulls. Was there a time where mythics didn't exist? Yes. If so, when was the first mythic? About 3.5 years ago. They were added about a year and a half to 2 years into the game. I believe they were added around 2.5 or so. Somewhere around there. Prior to that, mythics never existed in the game. At one point, traits never existed in the game either. That was added in 2.0. What was the first one? War. War was the first mythic ever added to the game. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for the first 4. I believe it was in order of war, famine, plague, and death, I believe was the order. I know war and famine were the first 2, with war being absolute first. Which makes sense. It is Gems of War, after all. So they added war as the first mythic. The war has been pretty bad ever since they nerfed him. But they did like a buff nerf to him, which they tend to do, where they like try buffing something and then nerf it as they're buffing it. That's basically what they just did to guild tasks recently before they even came out, the new task system. They ended up nerfing them in an attempt to buff them. And they did the same thing with war. They tried buffing him, but they got rid of his double damage thing in place of something else, which just made him so much more useless. However, they attached an extra turn to his ability, which did end up being nice, but overall it was more of a nerf than a buff to him. I believe they also gave him a better boost ratio, but it was still overall a nerf, because he lost his 2x skull damage. And that between armor, being able to hit through armor, he was actually able to 50% of the time one-shot enemies, which he can no longer do now. Okay, I'll go grab that for now. And he's dead. Okay, here's the one with Nisha, hopefully. I want to give out that code so bad. Have to give out the really nice one. We will need to go get that Nisha. When was the last time you got a Nisha? Last Tuesday, I believe it was. It's been almost a week. Or almost a full week dry of no Nisha. Which I even called would happen as we got the previous Nisha. I said it would probably take us forever to get this one since it's the last one we need. It's not technically the last one we need. Obviously, we need more Nishas after this. However, it's the last one we need for max global bonus. As soon as we get it, we will have the highest amount of global bonus we can. And that we can set any combination of medals at that point. Because right now it's impossible for us to set 12 magic. But it will as soon as we get that Nisha. Nope. Oh, if nothing else, we're getting a billion other medals. So many other medals. It'll be really easy to tell when we get one, because obviously that will say 3. And that will no longer say 2, and that will no longer say 2. So we still haven't gotten one in all this time. We got a lot of these other ones. We got 2 Spear Anus, because you only ever need to keep 1. We have 11 Spear Arachnias. We have 34 Spear Cedrics. We have 17 Spear Yasmins. And we have 12 Spear medals of Guard. Also, if you're wondering why I'm not using these yet, I'm waiting until next patch because I want to make sure we max out the commons. The 6 new commons that are coming out next patch, particularly the yellow, blue, and purple one because of the new mythic. But I want to make sure I have all 6 of those upgraded prior to spending these medals, just to make sure I have enough. Because I'm going to need to use some of my Yasmin and some of my Cedrics to boost up the commons. Because we currently do not have enough medals of Guard to do it all the way. To have enough, we would end up needing 18 medals of Guard spare. And currently we only have 12 medals of Guard spare. So we'd still need a whole another 6 medals of Guard in order to have enough to do it that way. And I'm not sure we'll be able to get that between now and next patch. Because if next patch is within the next few days, we probably wouldn't be able to get it. However, if it's next week, we might be able to get it by then. Because if we don't end up getting that, we're going to have to use some of our Yasmins or Cedrics for it. To lower down the costs. Because one Cedric can count as 3 guards, as well as 1 Yasmin being able to count as 3 guards. Regardless, we're still going to need to use some Yasmins and Cedrics for the final one. But it means for the second one, where we need 2 guards, it might just be more viable to use Yasmins and Cedrics, which is why I haven't ended up using them yet. We got mail. Wait, why do we get mail? Oh, someone did a legendary task. Nice. Look at those gem keys. Look at that juicy gem value right there. Right there. Let's see. This is worth 1 gem each. These are basically 1 gem each. 4 gems, 5 gems, 9 gems. 8 by 9 is 72. 72 plus 9 is 81. That's 81 gems right there for 1 task. Look at that gem value. 81 gems value worth of loot right there. That's gonna be reduced so hard next patch. That's the biggest issue with next patch mostly. It has a lot of good things, but the biggest bad is the way that they reworked the task system. We're still going to be getting some good things off of it. However, the overall gem value has been nerfed tremendously compared to now. Trickster Shot, Azura, Ubestet, Leprechaun, fastest level 12. Team, all maps. Is Trickster Shot quick for that? I generally don't use Trickster Shot in that it takes too long to get started. Because you have to cast Trickster Shot 2 times before it even starts one-shotting. Unless you armor tier all enemies. Wait, can Ubestet one-shot after the first Trickster Shot? I don't think that's enough damage. It could after second, though. So you wouldn't necessarily need a kill with your second Trickster Shot. However, first Trickster Shot I don't believe is Ubestet range. You'd have to Trickster Shot, Ubestet, Ubestet. Actually, you'd probably have to Trickster Shot, Ubestet, Trickster Shot. That seems like it would take too long. It would work, though. I just feel like it'd take longer than 30 seconds. Because that requires a lot of Trickster Shot setup. Four or 5 turn. How do you win that in 4 or 5 turn? I can go try it real quick. I haven't actually tried that before. It seems like it'd be a bit slower. Let's go test it on a 20% one. We'll do it in Divinion Fields. Oh, that's not something I want to replace. Let's see. What class do we want for this? Want something purple that'd be good for tanking though too. I guess that'd be fine. I'm just afraid that it's gonna be too flimsy. I might need Thief or Titan or something. Because Thief has 30% dodge. But it doesn't have extra to purple. So will we really even need the extra to purple? Okay, let's go and get a shot then. See what happens. Explore. Fight. Oh, banner would help. Banner. We definitely need +1 blue, +1 purple. However, we already have a +1 purple off the class itself. So we're definitely going to need a +1 blue. Can we just use Frozen Banner? Is there a +2 blue, purple +1 blue that minuses something that isn't useful? Yeah, that works. Okay, let's go with that. Let's roll that then. See what this does. Oh, we don't have any extra turn benefit. Okay, we'll throw it on first slot so we can set up Ubestet. Does Ubestet have enough damage? No. Now does it have enough damage? Yes. It seems like it's going to be too slow. I'm not sure how you're using this that would go so quick. Especially getting it done in 5 turns. Like, I don't see how this would ever do it in 5 turns. Also, if hero dies, you're in a really bad situation too. Because how are you supposed to reduce them down at that point? I'll take that down. I don't see how this is quick. Trickster Shot has to cast way too many times to get a kill. You're going to need to cast Trickster Shot at least 3 times with an Ubistet. Casting once. The Ubistet casting once is free. But you're going to have to cast way too many times with Trickster Shot to get it down. And there we go. First shot and then Ubistet kill. That's what we did. It gets a quick double kill. It's just pretty slow at killing the other 2. And now we Ubistet that once he's in range. Trickster Shot. Oh wait, I probably should actually held Trickster Shot there. I guess that's fine. And now we can start one-shotting with that. Got our double kill there. I forgot, he has attack boost ratio. He can actually kill a little bit earlier than that. Keep forgetting. He actually could have one-shot there. Keep forgetting he has boost ratio based on attack. We still need another Trickster Shot in there though. And if we Ubistet again, and then that'll be match. Like, it definitely works. I just feel like it's much slower. But yeah, we can actually do a double Trickster Shot then. I forgot about his boost ratio. So you Trickster Shot first, Ubistet, Trickster Shot third, Ubistet. Like, is that enough to kill? Yes. I'll take the red. Oh, you would only need 2 Trickster Shot then, because of boost ratio. And then the extra damage would be enough. Okay, it somewhat works. I can go time it though. Let's see. Let me bring up the timer. See how long a battle takes. I still don't have one set up on this computer. I need to go get one. Wouldn't take that long either. Where's the little timer thingy? Okay, go. Move that over, move that over. Get Leprechaun. Okay, hero will die here, but that actually doesn't matter. Now let's see how long it takes for full cycle. So we go back into the next battle. And the full cycle came out to 45 seconds. Let's go time it again. Though we are chasing 20%, so it is getting slightly more shards though, which is a relevant aspect of it. So it's allowed to be about 20% slower, theoretically. I still need another Trickster Shot, so I need to make sure that doesn't die. And I was get Fetus mana to full again. Come on, one more mana. Okay. And how long does it take for full cycle on this one? That one actually took longer. Let's see. Full cycle was 53 seconds or so. It was 54, actually, probably closer to that. But let's try it again. It's a bit slower, but it is chasing 20%, because obviously this has no counter. This would work for every kingdom in the game, regardless of what they have. Nothing would be immune to this team. There's a slight problem though whenever hero dies though, because that's the big slowdown for this team. All teams have a slowdown, but it is massive for this one, because if we don't have the second hit down, that's going to cost us like another 15 seconds to damage them down into Ubistet range. I think that's almost enough. That should be good. Nope, 86 damage, not enough. Now it is. And then dies. Like, that one ended up taking closer to a minute. If you count full cycle. Up to that point, it was 55 seconds. But of course, we still need to get back into the next battle if we had another battle. Let's go try timing these again. Because this one can be a little bit slower than 30 seconds. However, it can also be quicker than 30 seconds. But let's go test time the Scorpius again. See if we can beat it. Do I remember all the names of the troop? Or how do I remember all the names of the troop? I don't know, I'm really bad with names. I just remember mostly the more relevant ones. Just from them popping up a lot within the game. So I started the timer at the exact same time that I did for the other one. And, or started it, and I will stop it as soon as we hit into the next thing. Or, you know, right at the beginning of the next battle. And that ended up taking 32 seconds. And we'll do it again. Yeah, the other one's quick, particularly for following 20%, but it's not quicker. I should have taken those yellows. Whoops. Mistakes were made. Oh, you know when I said he never got a Devour? He finally got a Devour. The one nice thing is Scorpius does have an Impervious, so he can't actually Devour Impervious. So even with that Devour, we still got a 25-second battle. Though for a full cycle, it would have been 30 seconds. It was 25 seconds just because we didn't have a battle after. And we got Arachnia. Similar to how the other one was 55 seconds, even though it didn't have a battle after. Despite it would have been a minute if it did. Yeah, this is still almost twice as quick. I'll still go keep timing them though. So that was around 30 seconds or so. Technically 25, but that had no battle after. That's funny. Even with a Devour on us, it still ends up winning same speed. I was like, this one's going to be a bit slower. But even when it goes slightly slower, unless something really drastically bad happens, it still gets pretty quick. So right there, that looks like it's going to be a 30-something second. That comes out to 32 seconds again, right there. Try it again. But if you have Ubistat as your only Mythic, the other one would be fine, though, to use. The biggest issue with this team is to get as quick of a speed as this, you require 2 Mythics, both of which are relatively bad Mythics in any context other than this context. Also, that one was only 23 seconds, by the way. Which is why I say it averages to about 30 seconds. But anyways, I'm going to stop timing it now. I've timed it quite extensively in the past. This team averages about 30 seconds. It can get as low as about 20 seconds full cycle, and it can get as high as about a minute if you get really unlucky or if you get a Mechanome. So Mechanomes are really, really rare when it's not a vault event. Even during a vault event, you're only going to get one every 100 or 200 battles. And when it's not a vault event, it's going to be even lower than that. It's like 1 in 500 battles, if even that. Probably even rarer. Hello, Haley! Welcome! But yeah, I do like the team. It's pretty creative, the Ubistat thing. It's basically the same premise of this team, just ever so slightly different. To make it work around Ubistat. The only big issue is I think a lot of people are still missing Trickster Shot. So even if they have the Ubistat, they might not have Trickster Shot to work with it. And that team does seem to require Trickster Shot in that it would need enough damage. Otherwise, you would end up needing to take a Skull. Which wouldn't be too big a deal, since Skulls aren't too hard to take, but it might waste a turn or two. But it could theoretically be used with any Mang-like weapon. But Trickster Shot would be best, obviously. Because it actually gains enough damage to be able to put them into one-shot range of Ubistat after the first cast. And then for the first one, you can simply tap them. Or just use an Azura, which you'd already have at full mana due to Leprechaun. Hello, Cynical! Welcome. Also, Cynical... I mean, not Cynical. Because your name was right there. Leprechaun might seriously be, like, the best troop in the entire game right now. It on its own isn't the best. But as far as support troops are concerned, it's so ridiculously good. A mass explosion onto the entire board on turn 1 while also gaining gold. I almost even forget he gains gold sometimes, but... That's such a nice little addition, since it increases the rate at which you gain resources even more, while also helping you win the game, or win the battles quickly, which also increases your loot even quicker. Such a good farming troop for pretty much any resource, since it helps you win quickly through anything. Because mana accumulation is technically an offensive option, since you could just use it to into other things. Yeah, empower troops are always pretty good. There are very, very, very few empower troops that aren't viable. I think the number is only like 3 or something. The main one that comes to mind is that one yellow-blue epic from Sword's Edge. It ended up changing his ability a lot in the past, which is kind of ironic because he used to have a remove all blue or all red or whatever it was. I believe it was a remove all red and gain attack based on it. And his previous trait that was considered bad, or his previous ability, is actually better than what he has now. It's another one of those instances where they tried buffing a troop but made it even worse in doing so. That was prior to Guild Wars ever existing. And then when Guild Wars started to exist, if he would have had his previous ability would actually been a better Guild War option than what he currently has. I'm not even sure what the troop currently is now. It's not that I don't know what it is. It hits something and gains like 4 to all stats when it gets a kill. But I mean that in that I have no clue why he still has that ability. Even when it was changed like 3-4 years ago, it was useless because it was changed soon after 2.0 if I'm not mistaken. And it's never been touched since and has been useless the entire time as the worst empower in the entire game. Also, Lady Sapphira hasn't been touched in like 4 years. You can tell because she actually has, I believe, a 2 attack gain, 5 life gain. And she actually got nerfed down to a 4 life gain, 2 attack gain, because that 1 extra life at the time when that existed was actually too overpowered. The fact that she gained 1 higher life rather than 1 less life, because stats used to be so much lower. She used to be one of the strongest troops in the game for about the... she was useless when the game first came out. Then ended up changing her about a month or 2 after or so, and then she was viable for about half a year. Because during that time, she could one-shot with about 6 or 7 true damage. There were several troops that could be one-shotted, including Karnex and a few other mechs, and basically every skeleton, and several other things. And the fact that her damage was that high became a problem. And then they tweaked her ability and gave her a static amount of life gain and a static amount of attack gain. But even that had to get nerfed because stats were so low at the time. It's pretty funny. Because that was back when many stats were in single digits, and very rarely would you see anything with a double-digit stat. And now, like, literally everything is double digits, even in early game. Like, you play this game for a day, and you're probably already hitting double-digit stats on things. What do we take here? Take that over. Get a mountain. And he'd be dead. They really need to take an entire patch where they just rebalance every single old troop. Still no Nisha. How wonderful. I think we'll try one more chest and then give up for tonight. Hopefully we'll get it then. Hopefully tomorrow night. Though tomorrow night we're mostly going to be doing raids, obviously. Also, I didn't say what typing raids is. Raids next week is going to be of the typing of... oh gosh, I don't even know. I say that and now I don't even know what it is. Fail. 1 second. It's over on the forum over here. Oh, it's Pride Land, so that means it's Rashka's. Never mind, I don't even need to check. I just remembered. But I'll go check just in case. Yeah, it is Rashka. You'll be restricted to you'll be restricted to Pride Land troops next week, not Rashka's. Because it's a raid, not an invasion. Invasions are restricted based on type, whereas raids are restricted based on kingdom. And next week is a Pride Lands kingdom, so you'll have to use Pride Lands troops. Which is mostly Rashka, but still, there's other things other than Rashka's that you can be able to use there. If anyone still has any other questions, now would be the best time to ask. Otherwise, we'll slowly be wrapping up. We'll be starting back again, of course, on an hour prior to now tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be doing the next week's raid, and hopefully 4.7 very soon. Hopefully Tuesday night we'll be able to go and go over everything with new patch. Well, regardless if next patch comes out by that time, we'll be able to go over it because we'll be doing the preview stream of it on Monday. How soon after the patch actually comes out after that, we don't know. We might know tomorrow. because they might mention it on the stream itself. But very, very soon is the approximate time. Definitely before the holidays. It is on 100% being released before the 20th. I know that for sure. But likely within the next week. Potentially tomorrow. How do you feel about the 2 Cedric gold farming team? You haven't got to test it yet. Is it faster than 1? What do you mean by faster than 1? You generally don't use it for content where you want to win quickly. You do it for when you want more gold. It's a good PvP option, though I would not advise doing it for Explore or for your dailies. The main reason I don't do it is because it is slower than getting mana start. If you're looking for speed, you'd be better off going Leprechaun. I personally go Greed just because it can get things going. It gets your high max gold rate going a bit quicker. But Leprechaun or Greed would be your best way to do it quickly. However, double Cedric would give you more gold. The only situation you really go for the double Cedric is cases in PvP where the battle is already going to be easy to kill, and you just simply do it for the extra gold bonus. That is personally the only location I would ever bother bringing out double Cedric compared to single, in that context of that team at least. But the overall amount of gold that you would get per hour, it depends what you're doing. If you're doing PvP, you'd probably get more per hour with a double Cedric. But if you're doing, because it depends on the battles, because if you get a bunch of fire bombs and stuff like that, that would obviously benefit a lot more from double Cedric compared to 1. However, things like Explore and doing your dailies, I do feel like are better just using a 1 Cedric for, just because of their quicker speed of getting it killed. Because a double Cedric team will always be slower than a single. The main time double is useful is when you need a higher amount of damage to actually secure the one-shot, which is something that happens in PvP quite often. However, it doesn't happen in low-level Explore, nor does it happen in dailies for the most part. Except for like the really, really high legendary and mythic dailies, but those are a lot rarer. These even today, the highest they even went up to was epic for the deeds. Also, don't forget to go claim those deeds. Purple deeds are insanely good. Okay, final chest of the stream. Will we get our Nisha? Please. This is going to probably be the longest grind ever we'll have to do to get 1 Nisha. I hope not, though. Yeah, we'll throw that down if it'll let me. Can you stop cascading? Got a map out of that cascade is so long. Nisha? Come on. Please? Oh! Wow! We actually did it. The final chest. Well, I promise is a promise. Let me go get the code. That's definitely hacks right there. Totally hacked. Final chest of stream gives Nisha. Okay, let me figure out which one of these I haven't used yet. Did I use this one yet? I believe I did. Let me double check this one. Hold up, this might take me a second to figure out which code is actually viable for this. One moment. So I forget where I just put the shiny codes. They're like buried in all this mess. I believe this one isn't, but I want to check it real quick. Are you the one? Apparently it's already redeemed. So you're probably not the one then. This is probably the tree from earlier. Okay, so that isn't the set that I'm looking for. The set that I'm looking for is probably this one then. Come on, Super Mega Ultra codes work. I believe this is the other set that I'm looking for, because not as many are used, which makes sense. Okay, that should be the one. Let me go get this on copy paste. Copy. Make sure that was the one. Let me make sure I mark down the one as well. Actually, we have a lot of Super Ultra Mega codes. That's because I'm not really allowed to be giving them out that often. But we can on extremely special occasion. And finally hitting 3 medals of Nisha is definitely a super special occasion. That's for sure. Okay. Put that there. Put that there. Let me double check that this even is a mega code. It might just be a normal code. There we go. Let's go click this. We gotta screenshot this. Let's see a couple different screenshots we need here. One of that. One of this. And lastly, a really important one. Thumbnail worthy one. There we go. The triple Nisha. It has been done. Oops, I clicked the escape button. What even is that button? That's the delete button. Don't delete our Nishas. There we go. Finally. Triple Nisha. Okay, let's see. Is this the super ultra mega code? Yes, it is. Nice. Here you guys go. Super mega ultra code. In celebration of finally having 3 Nishas. Now we don't need to worry about this as much. Well, it's about time. And that is ultra lucky getting on our final chest right there. See, that's why we go for one more chest. And, oh, I didn't even claim my own code. But yeah, it's gives a little bit more loot than normal. Mostly to 25 gems. Normal gem key is worth about 9 gems or 10 gems. But that's basically worth 3 of those. Plus you could use it for anything, not just specifically gem keys. You could go use it for next week's raid event. Or you could go use it for next Friday's faction event. Or whatever else you want to put it towards. But anyways, here you guys go. And that is it. We are done with the token grind. Kind of, not really. As far as global bonus, we can now do any combination of metals. Actually, we could even literally do this, even though they don't stack. But, yeah, now we can do any combination of metals whatsoever. Like 12 magic, or 20% with it, or 3 arachnias, or 3 of literally any of the other ones. But, yeah, we now finally have every single possible combination of metals that we can set for our bonus that applies to anything we ever do. So that's going to be pretty cool to have now. There's not too many instances that do use 12 magic. However, a few of them benefit a lot. The biggest team that ends up benefit from having this much magic are things that already start with half mana start. So, for example, the not this exact team, but using the Mirage Queen, or however you say, how do you do? Yeah, like using the Mirage Queen version of this team, and other similar teams end up working out pretty well. Basically, anything that already has a mana start that needs a lot of magic tends to be the best teams that end up using the 50%, ends up using the 12 extra magic. And obviously Truffle already does a lot of damage, and being able to give him 12 damage compared to just 8 is quite a lot. And instead of having 20% mana, you could just go with 50% mana off a Mirage Queen. And you just need to go and change up the team. You could even just go with 1 Truffle at that point. That would probably be fine between everything else that you have, between the higher damage, because the higher magic damage would make up for the fact that you don't have a second one. But yeah, ends up working out pretty nice. And a few other teams end up using it. It's probably not as useful as 20% into +8. However, there are still teams that do utilize the full 12. And maybe we'll cover a video on a few more of those. However, the video I covered previously was did have that one mentioned in it. The Mirage Queen version of that mentioned. Which honestly I feel like is going to be the most viable thing for it. The Mirage Queen version of King Gobtruffle is probably the most beneficial thing you could use it with. Let's see. Dragon Soul explode the board with a Gorgoltha now. Yeah, you can basically make Dragon Soul explode like Gorgoltha, essentially, with that much extra magic. I believe every 2 magic gives them 1 explosion. So between the 3 of those, that's 6 extra explosions for Dragon Soul. But yeah, definitely everyone make sure to go use that code. It is much bigger than normal in celebration of our Nishas. And was there any other questions? Otherwise, I guess we'll be heading out. Feel free to leave a like if you'd enjoyed the stream. Oh, there's still one other question I forgot. How do you feel about the 2 Cedric gold farming team? Oh, never mind. I already answered that earlier. Never mind. But yeah, anyways, guys, we'll be heading out for now. We'll be back tomorrow night, as I mentioned, hour and a half prior to now tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we do every night. And now we don't need to farm Nishas anymore, though tomorrow night we're going to be doing mostly raids anyways. So, I'll be farming raids. Well, I shouldn't say that we don't need to farm them anymore, but, you know, we have full global bonus. Obviously, we still need them for upgrading mythics. Every mythic in the game, or base mythic in the game, will require those, where's Upnesia? There she is. Every single mythic in the game will be requiring these in order to go get upgraded at 100%. Obviously, we won't be doing that until we actually get a full another Nisha. But that could take us years. No, just kidding. But it will take us a while to get another Nisha, that's for sure. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Don't forget, the Mythic is still available for another 5 days if you still want to go get it. So if you open keys this Monday or a little bit later into the week, you can still end up getting it. It's available for another, actually there's no timer that can really show it properly, but it's available for another 5 days, 4 hours, and 38 minutes. Why this still doesn't have a timer, I do not know. I find that so strange. They have a timer for literally all these except the Mythic. But it's 5 days, 4 hours, and 38 minutes is what its timer is. If it was else to actually have a timer. Anyways, guys, catch you later. Goodbye, everyone, and good night.